welcome to the floor of my bathroom. You have no idea how excited I am to literally be able to talk to you right now. I've had laryngitis for the past week, and not just like, oh, my voice is like a little scratchy, I lost a little bit. Like, I could not get a sound out of my throat for 5 days straight. I was around the flat, like robo talking to Grace on my voice to text app. It was not ideal. Not how I expected to start the year, but here we are now. A little disappointing because I was like really geared up for this year. I'm like anyone, I'll usually have a New Year's resolution or two, like read more books, whatever. But this year especially, I was really excited to like redo all of my habits and routines and just like get really set with a lot of things. And I was ready to hit the ground running, and woke up January 1st after New Year's Eve just down bad. But we're good now. One of my main goals for this year is to get back into being creative, just for like creativity's sake. I actually have a studio art degree, and for a while spent a lot of my time making more like gallery-based work, printmaking, textiles that were more like for display versus like knitting stuff. And I've fallen out of that for a few reasons. Like when I came to London, I didn't have a studio space, I didn't have a sewing machine, and it took a while to like figure out how I was going to get access to those resources. But now I do, and I feel like since over the past year I've spent so much time building Material Girls, building a business, a lot of my creative work now is like geared towards that. Like whenever I design a pattern, it's to be in the style of Material Girls and to fit into like that kind of offering, which I love to do. I've also been so focused on it that I feel like I've completely lost touch with like the parts of my brain that would dream up like different kinds of creative projects. I know a lot of people like talk about feeling that when you turn your creative work into a business, you become very business minded about it and lose some of the just like raw creativity. So that's something I'm really looking to get back into this year. The first very preliminary step in that is to be reading more books about creativity and just how people talk about creativity. So I'm gonna try to do like one book per vlog on this channel, kind of, and hopefully it's interesting whether you're looking for some book recs or if just things that like come up in the books become relevant to you and your creativity. I hope so. At one of the recent Material Girls clubs, I taught Grace how to crochet, and it was just like a single crochet. She was going back and forth to make like a little scarf, and she got kind of entranced by it. And afterwards she was saying to me like, why are you always so like stressed when you're knitting and crocheting? This is so relaxing. Like, I love just getting into it and doing the same motion over and over. And I realized that's because like I'm always developing a pattern, which means that I'm keeping track of my yarn usage and doing math and like testing through to make sure that all of the different instructions work together. And that, you know, obviously the time and place is something that I enjoy doing, but I don't think I realized that like I did start this because it was relaxing and I enjoyed being creative. So I want to get back into doing more of like other people's patterns that have already been made, just to make something that is pretty. And there's so much good stuff out there. So I already have a big list. I'm feeling very inspired to do that. Of course, I've got my girl boss goals as well. Material Girls workshops will keep happening every month. The magazine will be released quarterly, so there'll be plenty more free patterns and things to come. And also Material Girls turns 1 this year, so stay tuned if you're in London, because we're gonna have a little birthday party at a wine bar, which I think will be super fun. On top of those tangible things, one of my business goals for this year is to respect myself more when it comes to like being a business owner and running Material Girls, because I think sometimes I get a little like frustrated. I mean, like lots of people talk about this in the fiber arts community. It's not a super in general like well-respected craft. It's not considered art, and that's largely because it's women dominated, and the small businesses that come out of the fiber art are often not taken seriously because they are creative and women dominated. So I think sometimes I get a little upset when it's like I work so hard on this and it doesn't seem like people understand that it's not just like a silly little hobby. It's like something that I'm working really hard to build a community and a business around. And I had to have a little self-reflection moment recently where I was like, that is a little bit on you, Alexa. Like, time to step up and demand a little more respect for yourself, because I feel like a lot of times when people ask me stuff, I'll be like, oh, it's just like I do girly craft clubs, and yeah, I have a meme page, and yeah, the magazine is like Y2K, like girly shit. It's just like very silly, and I'll use these words, and it's like, no wonder people don't respect it when I'm calling it silly and girly and not saying like, no, it's a worldwide fiber arts community. I gather and create community spaces in London. I put out a magazine that I completely design and write. I'm proud to be doing these things, and I feel like as a girl, I often feel like I need to downplay them so that people don't feel like, I don't know, offended that I'm trying to build something. But like, I don't know, I've never been someone who's afraid to be seen trying, and so that's one of my goals, is to like when people ask me about things to talk about it seriously. So that's my vibe this year. I'm kicking it into gear. Done for today. Let's get to it. It's Material Girls Club day. I'm gonna give you a little virtual tour of the Material Girls Club space because I know a lot of you are not in London able to come to them. They're super fun. If you're ever in town, please check us out. But here's basically what we have going on. I love setting these up so much. So it's inspired by girly birthday parties. Everyone that comes gets a goodie bag. So inside there'll be things like stickers, bubbles, there's candy in them every week, so just kind of fun stuff like that, and they have glitter on them this time. We do a craft at every meeting. This month we're doing fortune tellers, which I thought would be a fun fiber arts activity, like what pattern should I make first, or will I block my knits? We'll find out. Cute little birthday decor, and there's also oh no, it fell down. This says treats, but there's a little treat table. So you'll come and you'll meet other fiber artists and you work on your project and we do a little craft together and you go home with fun little goodies, and I have just really enjoyed doing them and I'm glad people have been liking them. This is the first one of 2024. I think it's the 6th one that we've done, so yeah, I'm really excited to see what goes on with this in the future. My goal is to kind of make it even more fun and branded and have more goodies at it. I really am passionate about like using any connections that I have with brands to help other people in the fiber arts community get to try stuff out. So in the past we've had like yarn sponsorship where people will have like a company will send yarn and everyone gets a skein of yarn. If you're a brand who wants to send some stuff to Material Girls Club, we've got usually around 30 eager girlies wanting to try it out, and it's super fun. So yeah, welcome to Material Girls Club. Mix of 2024. I had a pretty productive first 2 weeks. When I had like laryngitis, I wasn't actually sick. Like I couldn't speak, but I didn't feel sick at all, but I still couldn't, like, sometimes I had a fever, I couldn't go anywhere, whatever. So I was at home knitting up a storm and I finished this sweater. So this is kind of a combination of my girlfriend and boyfriend sweater patterns. I did the boyfriend sweater neck, but the girlfriend sweater like shape of the body, but I had to take some of the ease out of it because I like didn't have enough yarn left to make a whole sweater. But anyway, I think the shape turned out pretty good. And then I just went on Pinterest and found a bow stitch chart that I thought was cute and that like fit the number of stitches that I had and put it on. And then next up we have the No Body sweater by Josephine Dyring. Lots of great like yarn scrap colors in this. So you wear it like a bolero with a big neck and then sleeves. I'm not wearing this because I'm a little intimidated. I don't know how I'm gonna style it yet. I think these like bolero things are super cute and like a fun layer texture to add to stuff. I feel like the obvious thing is to wear like a very plain tank top underneath and then just like jeans or whatever, but I feel like then it kind of just looks like, oh, you're wearing a plain outfit and then you have a statement piece. I want to like have all the pieces be interesting, but I have no idea what that is yet. So tune in, like it might take me a while to figure that out. I have a pair of parachute pants in the mail right now from Vinted that I'm wondering if like that kind of texture might be interesting with it. So stay tuned with that, but either way, it was a very fun make to do. I have been reading The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. So if you don't know Rick Rubin, he's like a really famous record producer, and I thought he was famous and I looked up his discography and he's like insanely famous. Like he's worked with anyone you've ever heard music from. So obviously has some insights about the creative process, and this book is written all in mini chapters. Each one has a name like tuning in or awareness or intention, and it just is like a little blurb of something that he's learned about creativity in his career. He says in the beginning, like, it's like a 400-page book. He said there are going to be things in here that like don't super resonate with you, like take what is helpful, leave what isn't. That being said, 400 pages, every chapter is like 2 pages and then there'll be a blank page in between, so it really did not take that long to get through, but there is a lot in here. Something that I particularly like that he talks about creativity being a practice and a way of life versus like something that you achieve. And then another thing that I really appreciated about this was him talking about creativity as a lifelong path. I think that sometimes I get into moods where I like look back and I'm almost like embarrassed of things that I've made a few years ago, just because I don't know, like I feel like they were cringy or I could do them better now or something. And he talks about how every piece of art that you make is an expression of who you are in that moment, and you might look back and think like I would have done that differently now, and that just shows you like how you've changed as a person. But you have to respect kind of those past selves who like thought that was just the most expressive, beautiful thing to make. And so that was, I think, also a good reminder, because I think I can be kind of hard on myself if I like look back and don't think that something I made in the past was the best, which makes sense. Like hopefully I'm always improving, and I'm more proud of my latest creation. But I liked the way he talked about creativity as just a process, something that you continue to develop, and that's how it's supposed to be. So this was a pretty nice like inspirational quick read to start the year, and to just kind of be, like I said earlier, be feeling about creativity again. I'm really excited to move on to my next books though. I think before this you'll have seen some clips from Women in Revolt, which is an exhibition up at the Tate Britain right now. I went with Grace to see it this weekend, and there's so much cool stuff in there, including a curated bookshop that is all like feminist art texts. A lot of them are specifically about fiber art as well. So I got, I think, nearly a dozen books there, and I'll be starting to crack away at those next up. But thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing the things that I'm making and reading and doing in London. And thanks for being here. Have a good night.